All right, so in this section, we're going to learn about PMT function, which is a function that we use in accounting and finance. So students with finance and accounting concentration especially are interested in this function, and we're going to learn more about other types of functions that are similar to PMT function in Module 3 or Chapter 7. PMT simply calculates the amount of money you should pay back when you get a loan, right? So let me show you something to better understand how PMT works. Let me give you an example. Let's say that you get a loan for $12,000, and then I ask you to pay it back in 12 months, and then there is no interest rate. It's zero. Then you simply divide this 12,000 by 12, and you know that you should pay $1,000, right? But if I add an interest rate here, let's say 3.5% per year, which is an annual interest rate or APR, then it won't be that easy to calculate this monthly payment. There is a mathematical function that you have to use to calculate it. But to make it easier, what we do is that we use the PMT function to calculate for us. Before I show you how it works using this data, let me show you that how we can use it. Again, simply just click on a cell and then type PMT. Excel shows the function to you. And then again, it shows you that what argument you need to insert into this function. You need 3 main argument, and these 2 are optional. And by the way, if an argument is optional, Excel puts that within a bracket. So these 2 are optional, and the default is 0. But we always have these 3 things. The first one is rate, which is the annual interest rate divided by usually 12, because we are paying back in a year. And then N pair is the number of payments that you make. For example, if you were supposed to pay the loan back in 2 years, the number of payment will be 24 if it's monthly, which is usually the case. And PV, or present value, is simply the loan, how much you borrowed, right? All right, so if I use that, my example, and then I say that I don't have an interest rate, and I want to pay back in 12 months, $12,000, it should give me $1,000, which is correct. But why is in red? Because it's a negative value. Why? Because that's how much you owe. But if you want to get a positive value for PMT function, you simply put a minus before your present value. And there you go. Now it's positive. All right. So let's calculate PMTs for different amount of loans and for different amount of time. How much will it take for you to pay it back? If you go to, I don't know if you ever get a loan for your car, or if you want to get a mortgage, they usually give you the amount of loan, and then they tell you, for example, you can pay it back in 10 years. and then you will see different interest rates for that loan, right? Here, I'm using just one interest rate for this example. You should have different interest rate, but here we only have one interest rate, and this means that it's an annual interest rate. And then I want to pay it back in a year. So number of payments for me will be, let me fix this, number of payments for me will be 12. And now I have to calculate monthly rate because that's the rate we use in PMT function, which simply means that I have to divide this by 12. So this is the number that I'm going to use here, right? So I want to calculate PMT for this, the first record in this table, which is $20,000 in 3 years, equal PMT. And then it asks me for the rate. My rate is this one. I just calculated that. And the number of payments would be 3 times 12, right? This one times 12. 2 years will be 36 months. And then how much is the present value? Don't forget the minus, and this is the present value. So this is going to be, if you take this loan and if you want to pay it back in 3 years with this interest rate, then you have to pay $584 per month, right? But we just learned about absolute references and mixed references. I want to calculate PMT for all of these loans and these different types of years. So if you look at here, look at this formula, I have 1, 2, and 3 different cells that I'm referring to, which are the three main arguments that we use to calculate PMT function. So again, we need to see that which one is absolute and which one is relative, which one is changing and which one is just a constant rate. So it is C13 is our monthly rate. Does it change? No, it doesn't change. So it's an absolute reference. It's just one number, it's just one cell. So I lock it with a F4. Right? It means that I'm not going to change that number. What about G12? G12 is referring to this year's number, right? So what about that? Is it changing? Yes, it's changing. But again, because it's a vertical, I'm going to drag vertically. I don't need to fix the column, and the row is changing, so I'm not going to do anything to that. And it's the same with F12 too. It's our present value and it's changing. So I let these two change and I lock the my interest rate. So now I can drag, and there you go. I have monthly payments for each of these loans.